that jump from college to the NFL since 2000. Urban Meyer lasted 13 games, 2-11. Matt Rule, he went from Baylor to Carolina. He's 10-19. Cliff Kingsbury from Texas Tech to the Cardinals, 23-20. And he seems to be on the uptick. Bill O'Brien went from Penn State to the Texans. He was 4 games over 500. Chip Kelly, Oregon to the Eagles. He was 5 games over 500. Doug Marrone went from Syracuse to the Bills, 2 games under 500. Greg Schiano, Rutgers to the Buccaneers, 10 games under 500. Jim Harbaugh, Stanford to the Niners. He was 44-19-1. Bobby Petrino, he was 3-10. Another guy who lasted 13 games, went from Louisville to the Falcons. And Nick Saban, LSU to the Dolphins. He was 2 games under 500. Steve Spurrier, Florida to Washington, 8 games under 500. Butch Davis, Miami to the Browns. He was 11 games under 500. We'll talk to Jimmy Johnson about that leap going from college to the NFL. He did it well, became a Hall of Famer. He'll join us coming up. We knew recent history wasn't on the Jags' side when they hired Urban Meyer because, as I just pointed out, a lot of these prolific college coaches don't have success in the NFL. And I'm sure Shad Khan thought Urban Meyer was going to be an exception. The team was plagued by controversy from the day he got there. Now you have the latest report that his former kicker got kicked in the leg, Josh Lambo. Josh Lambo had this to say about the incident.
I see Urban come up to me out of the corner of my eye. He comes up to me and he says, "Hey, Dip," another word, "make your effing kicks," and then proceeds to kick me right in the leg, right in the hamstring. Also on the leg, on the hip, that kept me out for 12 games last year. And I couldn't believe it happened. I looked up at him. I said, "Don't you ever kick me again."
This was an interview, First Coast News in Jacksonville. And then Josh Lambo was asked if he thought Urban was fit to coach the Jags. This is before he got fired.
How fit do you feel Coach Urban Meyer is to lead the Jaguars organization?
For me, I would say completely unfit. And that is my observation from what I saw day in and day out for a lot of months this year. The way that he treats the guys in the locker room, there's this pompous nature that he has, that he can get away with anything. You know, I see myself as a Jaguar, and I certainly don't see him that way.
Urban's demise shows the difference between college and the NFL. You know, coaches have total autonomy where they not only run the team, but in a lot of cases, they run the whole town. Urban was used to doing what he wanted to do as long as he won games. And he won games every place he stopped. And maybe we would give him a little more leeway if his team was good. But they're 2-11. It was a bad fit from the beginning. As I said when Urban Meyer got fired, or hired, I should say, a source told me Ryan Day, the current Ohio State head coach, would have been a better hire than Urban Meyer because he would do better at developing Trevor Lawrence. Because we haven't thought about or talked about Trevor Lawrence, and there's a lack of development there with him. And in large part because they don't have the right person to be able to do that. Now, Darrell Bevell has been an offensive coordinator. He was with Russell Wilson. I want to be fair to him. But there is a lack of development with Trevor Lawrence right now. And I don't think too many people have talked about Trevor Lawrence. He's the number 1 overall pick. We talk about Zach Wilson. Zach hasn't done anything with the Jets, but Trevor Lawrence has done very little in Jacksonville as well. Urban Meyer maybe steps back, maybe figures out how to rebuild his career. Maybe this is it. But there's a lot of different scenarios that can take place here. I think this job is a great job. And the reason is they have a lot of salary cap money. You have what could be a franchise quarterback, and you play in a division that you can win. I mean, you're in a division where you don't have a great quarterback in that division. And if you're going to follow Urban Meyer, okay, people are going to give you a little bit more patience there. And I think this could be a great opportunity for a coach to come in, help develop Trevor Lawrence, take advantage of the salary cap, get some people in there. And, you look at Ryan Tannehill is not a great quarterback. The Texans don't have a quarterback right now. And Carson Wentz we're not quite sure. Like you can compete in this division, and I think you can compete quickly in this division. But this was starting to be systemic, where Urban. I mean, this is how Urban coaches. He intimidates, he belittles his assistant coaches. You can get away with it when you're winning. You win 10 games, 11 games. Florida, Ohio State. And he does win in college, and he's better suited for college. And we pointed that out, that when you come in and you have that, you have to work with players in the NFL. There's an adjustment period there. There's a personality adjustment period where you have to go, let me read the room here. Because you can't go in and go, hey, you guys, I'm great and you suck. And you're talking to your coaches that way. Well, who hired the coaches? You did. So how great are you that you hired coaches who aren't good? And then you belittle them. And in college, nobody's going to speak out of turn. There's no leaks at Florida. There's no leaks at Ohio State. Your local media is on your side. You get to the NFL, these coaches are probably going, can you believe this guy? Like, what's he done? Who are you? These players are going, I don't care what you did at Ohio State or Florida. Welcome to the NFL, where every day you play Alabama. And then you're going to kick a player? They have a players' union. You can't kick him. I mean, you can't kick anybody. But in the NFL, I mean, these are grown-ass men. They're not going to put up with this. But this was the last straw, because it felt like Shad Khan didn't want to let Urban Meyer in the building today. And I'm sure there'll be some settlement, some payout here. Urban will eventually have something to say at some point here. But, he didn't handle this well. The enormity overwhelmed him, it felt like. He was in over his head. But it starts with when you think you're better than everybody else. You know what's great? When somebody tells you that you're better than everybody else. Not you telling everybody you're better than everybody else. And you walk in with that ego, and they'll show you the door. It just doesn't last long. And it certainly seemed to play out that way in Jacksonville, where it was a question of what he stepped down, quote unquote, due to health reasons again. And I think that was the prevailing thought. And as far as who could step in there, maybe they give Byron Leftwich. He's working with Tom Brady in Tampa. Maybe Eric Bieniemy gets an opportunity here. Brian Dable, who's done a great job with Josh Allen in Buffalo. But I'd love to know what the buyout's going to be, because I'd have great curiosity with what are they going to pay you. This program brought to you by the great folks at Panini, the Panini trading cards, hottest rookies, biggest superstars, all-time greats. Only place to collect them all, Panini trading cards, the official trading cards of the DP show. For instant classics, autograph cards, memorabilia cards, rare inserts, and more, start or continue your collection now at PaniniAmerica.net. Here's Trevor Lawrence on what goes on in Jacksonville.
Yeah, I mean, you're always going to have some form of drama. I've learned that even just the NFL is just more drama in general than college, no matter where you're at. But you're right. I mean, there's been a lot. And, to your point, I do think that has to change. And, that's something that we need to work on for sure. So you can't always be in the headlines. You just got to go play football. And that's where we're trying to get. And I have no doubt we'll get there.
Probably thinking I should have stayed in college. Although Clemson didn't have a good year this year. But, yeah. And then, people immediately said, how about Dabo Swinney? And I go, haven't we already had a marquee college coach the Jags? Let's not do that. Let's go opposite. Well, you bring in Dabo, he can help develop Trevor Lawrence. Good luck with that. You don't think that Urban connected with the players, wait till Dabo comes to town. That's not a good idea. But maybe you get one of these offensive coordinators who gets the opportunity there. But now you're ahead of everybody. Now you got a chance to, the job search is open right now. And as crazy as it may sound, I'd still be interested in Ryan Day at Ohio State. He may not want to leave, There's talk that he could be attached to the Chicago Bears job, but, all indications are he'll eventually be a head coach in the NFL. You may not want to go back to the college ranks, but if you do, Ryan Day would be at the top of my list. Yeah, Paulie.
I saw a couple of reports of what the payout would be. It's not a buyout for Urban Meyer, but what he's owed. It could be over $50 million as of right now on paper. Now, there are a couple of people like Flory and others have written that if they could fire him for cause and have more of an incident that caused his firing, then it would be easier to claw back the money or not pay him at all.
Well, you have the incident.
Yes.
He kicked a kicker.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Lou Holtz lasted 13 games when he coached the Jets. Bobby Petrino, 13 games when he coached the Falcons. Urban Meyer, 13 games with the Jags.
Stat of the day, stat of the day, stat of the day, stat of the day. Here comes that what? Stat of the day.